start off for and by saying congratulations on these 3 tracks that you dropped recently. They're all brilliant, and we've been playing the first track on our show for the last couple of weeks and getting amazing feedback. So congratulations.
Awesome, thank you, dude. I appreciate it. There's a lot of grit and grind that probably went into those, to be honest. So I'm glad you're being received positively.
When you say there's a lot of grind going into them, what do you mean by that? Because the first thing that hits me is how personal these tracks are. So what was the grind that went with that?
I think, obviously, I mean, you have the same spiel from almost every band, I guess, like, lately, would be, obviously, COVID and things like that, but, I guess, we had, realistically, probably a large handful of songs written, and I think this is probably the first time I probably pushed everyone as hard as possible to kind of cut everything down as much as possible as well, so I think we had probably maybe 11 or 12 songs. Some of them kind of sounded like Cradle of Filth worship kind of songs and things like that. But I think we were just really brutal with how we, I guess, what we ended up using out of what we had as a handful of songs. And I think even just the drums for those songs. I remember we had some original things done on like the electric kit or whatever else. And then I think, I spent days kind of just grinding out different parts and sitting in just trying to do different things, different fills and whatever else. I just remember walking away from the little studio that we have. And I think it was took me 3-4 days to get over just the incessant back pain that I'd given myself from just kind of, I guess, pushing the envelope a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like every band did different things during the pandemic. Some bands went on hiatus and didn't do anything. It sounds like you guys did a lot of writing. Was that something that you thought that was the best to do during the pandemic?
I guess we're kind of just bored.
Yeah.
That's probably the easiest thing to say. But I guess we missed out on. So basically, just before the pandemic was coming through, we were set to tour with Norma Jean for that Australian tour, and that kind of didn't go anywhere with that. We lost money on flights and whatever else, and we're like, well, we already had tracks written and kind of loosely recorded, but just I guess it kept us all kind of sane and together. I mean, obviously the jamming space and everything like that was a lot harder. So I think most of it came out of a bedroom in my old house that we all kind of were just jamming on an electric kit because obviously studios and rehearsal spaces were kind of shut down because of COVID and all that kind of jazz as well.
Do you think that added to the personal feel to these tracks? Because I know, for Beggars Well that we've been playing, that's a track that really explores some personal things for you. Do you think that the fact that you were recording it in a bedroom also added to that personal feel as well?
I mean, potentially. I feel like, maybe because we were all kind of, because usually the writing process, at least, for what I've been involved in my time with Cries, most of the time it's kind of, someone will write something, someone else will write something, and everyone kind of is like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, let's just keep on keeping on with that. Whereas I feel like, at least this time, because, during the pandemic, I ended up moving into an apartment, and it happened to be next door to the guitarist, where he had no idea, and he could hear my voice in the hall, and he's like, who the fuck? And he's like, oh shit. I ended up moving in next door, so it was one of those things that I think we ended up being really nitpicky about a lot of things, and even Jaden being like, oh, you could do this little tremolo part or something like that, or even just little bits and pieces with fills or lyrics or placement as well. It was a lot of back and forth, and I think I think where they were probably a little while ago, they were good, and I guess from my personal perspective, I felt like they got pushed a little bit further. It was just the little 1%, 2% things that kind of really, really help with certain things. I mean, it's stuff that someone would probably listen to and just not even care about, but I guess we were kind of like, nah, that weird little snare roll or that weird little tremolo or vocal part needs to be in there. That's it. If it's not, it'll break the entire song kind of thing. So yeah, maybe we got a little bit too weird with it, but I like how it came out anyway. So
Yeah, you also reached out this time and worked with Gregory Thomas and also Zach from The Ghost Inside. Tell us a little bit about why you decided to work with those two and what you feel they brought to this as well.
Yeah, so I guess like in regards to Zach, like Zach's a good friend of mine through basically one of my best friends, Chelsea. She ended up getting married to Zach probably a little while ago. Obviously, we had tickets for the wedding, and yeah, COVID kind of stopped that from happening as well. But yeah, Zach, before that, I think it was the Unified show where TGI were playing. So Zach and Chelsea had actually stayed at my old house for about a week and a bit, and I'd kind of gone through a couple of songs with him, and we kind of discussed like arrangements and things like that. That was also including some of the older songs that ended up kind of not really seeing the light of day at this point. But yeah, that's kind of where he was involved in things, and I guess Gregory and myself, we've been friends for a while. I think we worked it out. It was probably like 10 or 11 years, and we just kind of like originally started like pinging each other on Instagram and Facebook, and yeah, I finally reached out to him and was like, hey man, like, because I think every other recording we've ever done, the engineer or the producer kind of tries to capture what they assume to be the sound that we're looking for, but I don't think we've ever really captured it perfectly until this EP. And yeah, I remember just having Greg, playing an end, listening to the guitar tone an end. I just like, because I just love that band in general, just the way that they just really chaotic, but they have like such a pure energy, like even in the recording process. So yeah, I was like, oh man, like what can we do to do this? And yeah, we ended up chatting, and he had a couple of bits and pieces to input on the songs as well. So yeah, some of those, like I think he ended up doing all the guitar reamping and things like that. And yeah, like listening back on some of them, like there was just some weird sludge sounds like in the background of a couple of things, and just all the stuff that I never have heard of before. But it works, and it sounds fucking great. So yeah, I was very stoked to kind of have both of those guys on board for the project.
Yeah, so you're heading now to the zoo on July 2nd for a launch show. It's an amazing lineup. Tell us a little bit about how excited you guys are to get out there and play these tracks live.
Yeah. So it'll be actually kind of the EP launch, and I guess I've been referring it to the Phoenix for the band. Realistically, just kind of like with the EP and the show is kind of more of like a rebirth for us, or a refresher to kind of start from day dot and push a little bit harder. But playing these songs live, I mean, I'm excited, but I'm also very scared because they're probably the hardest songs that we've written, tempo-wise and I guess technicality-wise as well. So yeah, I'm very excited to get in there and play. Like especially Mikey is a good friend of mine as well, and he's playing in that in Trust as well. So it's going to be good to finally play a show with Mikey too. So. Yeah, I'm just really excited to get it done, but also extremely scared to play those songs live to try, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So yeah.
How do you get a handle on that? Like, if you're really nervous about playing certain tracks live, how do you normally find that you get a handle of that?
I think with some of the session stuff I've done before, I tried some of that Wim Hof breathing type stuff, or at least a bastardized version of that, just to try and calm my nerves and keep focused. Obviously, try and stay away from drinking any delicious ales beforehand.
Yep.
But just more so trying to stay in the zone as much as possible, and not. I think the more I think about, I guess, someone else watching me, and then kind of doing that loop around of people watching me. Is kind of the thing that usually will set me up for failure. So as soon as I kind of start to just kind of project and sit in my own space, then I find that I play a lot better that way, at least.
So what have you guys got planned for the rest of the year after this show? Are you guys looking to get out and do more shows, do some touring, or head back to do some writing?
Yeah, so I guess obviously we've begun writing, still been writing the entire time. So obviously that's pretty much all I'll say about that at this point. But I know Luke. He's going to be bringing a new baby boy in the next probably I think the due date's roughly around about where my wedding is, so in August. So pretty much after that date, we're setting to try and hopefully get some Australian tours locked in and some international supports. Nothing official at this point, I guess, at this time.
Awesome. Well, we are going to play Beggars Well on our show again right now. So, mate, what would you like to say to everybody out there before they take another listen to this amazing track?
I just want to say thanks to everyone. And, if they like the track, please go grab a ticket. And hopefully we'll see you at the zoo on the 2nd.